how's it going? And welcome back to a brand new episode of the 90th Minute. First of all, before we get into the episode, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are your hosts, Greg, Liam, Lucas, Matt, and I. And also, later on in the podcast, we have a very special guest, Jimmy Conrad. Conradinho has joined the 90th Minute. Probably, one of our marquee guests. I mean, shout out to all the guests we've had, but Jimmy Conrad's definitely been someone we've been wanting on the podcast for a long time. We've been all following him since like Euro 2012. So thank you again, Jimmy, for being on. And that's going to be in the middle of the podcast. If you want to skip to that, no problem. But gentlemen, how are we doing?
Not too bad. Good. How about yourself, Wazzy?
Not bad. I've had an interesting week. FIFA made me want to almost put my head through a wall, like one does.
Feel that. I'm
putting. But you packed Messi, so you can pipe down a little bit. I tried a White Claw for the first time this week.
Which one?
Black cherry. It was life-changing.
That's good. Lime. I highly suggest the lime White Claws.
I heard mango's good. Yeah. But Lucas, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I don't know, just chilling here.
Okay. Matt, how about yourself? Fresh cut.
Yeah, well done. I like fresh cuts.
Greg, how you doing? Greg, I like the new headset you got going on.
It's not new. It's pretty shit, but
that's
you know.
Okay, Greg. Thank you, Greg.
I'm back.
But let's get into the football. A lot more football has come back this week, including La Liga and Coppa Italia. And the next week, of course, the Premier League's back. So we're gonna delve into this and talk about all this fun stuff. All right, so let's start off with La Liga.
Yeah, 100%.
I like it. Maddie likes us back.
The Barcelona title race is well and truly in good form. I mean, still a 4-0 smashing of Mallorca. But I mean, really, to talk about this match, there's only one thing to talk about: a pitch invader during a closed-door game. So, credit to him. Great job for seeking past all security. He gets 10 out of 10 points. But yeah, football. Let's talk about the actual game, I guess.
Well, of course, the big game was clearly Barcelona versus Mallorca, which was pretty easy for Barcelona. 4-0 victory. Matt, did you get a chance to watch it, or?
I only had the chance to watch the extended time.
Fair enough. Okay, so you know how last week I said the games would be on YouTube? I was wrong. It was only the match previews, so they just showed the players warming up, and then as soon as the game started, they cut it. Barca defeat Mallorca 4-0. Vidal scored, Braithwaite, Alba, and Messi in the 93rd minute. Pretty
Messi
dominant.
had a great game.
Yeah.
Two assists and a goal. He's right back in great form. He is leading La Liga in both goals and assists right now.
And I'm
Ballon
pretty sure
d'Or is coming his way.
Pretty classic Messi stuff.
And I think it's now officially after 12 straight seasons in a row, Messi's the first person to score 20 goals in the
20
season.
goals, yeah.
I don't know, is that just La Liga or in general?
12 straight years he's hit 20 goals in the season.
It's not bad.
La Liga.
I don't know. La Liga is shaping up very differently. I don't know. Did you guys see anything different from Barca, or was it just same as usual? Anything we should touch on from that match?
We scored more than one goal, so.
Scores.
Yeah, Martin Braithwaite.
Also, they won an away match, which doesn't happen too often. But then again, the levels aren't really there.
Yeah.
No fans, so it doesn't really matter.
Mallorca's quality.
I think for Barcelona, it's a good win. It's a good way to come back after such a long break.
Yeah.
I mean, facing a team like Mallorca, no disrespect to them, but they are miles behind Barcelona's quality. So it was a bit of an easy game back into the league for them. But the title race in La Liga is still on. Real Madrid still are within a shot of getting the title. They played today on the Sunday fixtures. They got a good victory as well.
Yeah, Toni Kroos's goal was nice.
Oh, Toni Kroos outside the box. I mean, even Marcelo had a nice goal. Ramos. I mean, there was a lot of good build-up play from Madrid, I thought, especially on Ramos's goal. I think I don't know.
3-0?
3-1. Big ass scored. Big ass.
Big ass defense.
Sorry. This is why people say we know nothing about football. But anyways.
Why is this guy? Why do we leave him in charge of saying anyone's name? Yeah?
That's actually a very good point.
I'm surprised he said Jimmy Conrad's name right at this point.
he said Conradinho.
It's unbelievable, bro.
But yes.
Say it one more time, was? No, we ain't moving on to say it one more time.
Who?
Say his name.
Pedro Big Ass?
Okay. That's for you, chat.
Anyways, yeah.
Move.
Tony Cruz started things off in the 4th minute with a big strike from outside the box.
A big ass strike.
Yes. Enough. It was a classic goal from Tony Cruz. As you know, he can do everything on the pitch. He can, of course, pass, dictate the game, shoot from anywhere.
According to FIFA, he can't run, so I don't know about that one.
That is true.
I think FIFA just is a load of shite sometimes, especially with stats, because he definitely runs pretty. Yeah. But yeah, no, 3-1 victory for Real Madrid. No
quality
surprise.
Celebration by Marcelo, very classy. I like that one.
Taking the knee. A lot of footballers have been taking a stand against Black Lives Matter or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm not good at politics. Yeah.
You're not good at a lot of things, but
I would disagree with that. All right, yeah, no. The table is currently Real Madrid with 59 points, Barca 61, Sevilla with 50, but Atletico Madrid right now are 6th with 46 points. Getafe is in 5th with 46, and Real Sociedad with 47.
Well, and what did Atletico Madrid do today?
They drew 1-1, no surprise, I think.
Classic result.
Although I think Diego Costa scored his first goal since October.
Guy's an absolute legend.
Lucas, I want to talk to Lucas for this because Lucas tries to save the skin of Atletico Madrid. He protects them whenever possible. For some reason, I don't know why, but can you agree with me that this is really not a good Atletico team?
I mean, what else do you want me to say that I haven't said to you in the past 6 months? Like,
I mean, they beat his.
They beat you. Yeah.
In my opinion, they are a strange team. I think Simeone is the type of guy where he knows how to get a result when he needs to. He knows how to grind the game out, but his team just didn't score enough. I mean,
I was gonna say they don't score enough, but then again, they go to Anfield, a place where no one scores, and they go and score 4.
True, but that is also more of a case where the wheels just kind of fell apart for Liverpool.
Yeah,
that
kind
match.
of.
So Atletico just took advantage of that.
I mean, Atletico Madrid, obviously they have a bunch of new players. It's like you never know what's going to happen at the club right now because there's always rumors of players leaving, then there's new players joining, and then there's rumors with the wages not looking right at the club right now. They spend a lot of money. They have to save a lot of money. Stuff one side, stuff on the other side. Like, it's the only thing consistent is their goal scoring, and it's not that good.
Yeah.
So if Atletico Madrid does not finish in a European spot, and if they are not able to win the Champions League and therefore not have Champions League or even Europa League football next season, can a club of Atletico's stature and wage bill, like you said, really keep a hold of all these big names?
In this post-COVID time, I think it would be very difficult for them.
Yeah, Lucas has got a good point.
Because I know them and Barcelona have been struggling while Real Madrid have been somewhat fine. But like Barcelona is going to be fine in the long term because they're Barcelona. Atletico Madrid, they'd definitely have to sell players to make sure that they wouldn't suffer under a huge loss.
I think Atletico Madrid will more than likely end up fine. They've had more than a few seasons of good results in Champions League and in the league. I think they'll stay afloat.
You think they would, but
plus their wage bill isn't astronomical, so they should be fine.
La Liga's pretty tight, honestly, except for like the first 2 spots. But other than that, it's been pretty tight. Like 50, 47, 46, 46. Anyone can really finish in the top 6 in any position. It can swap out any week. I mean, Athletic Club is at 38 points and 10th, so it's been very competitive this season, La Liga, compared to other leagues, I would say.
It's actually good to see for once, because I mean, La Liga's usually at this point kind of done and dusted.
Joao Felix didn't start at all for Atletico. He wasn't even on the bench.
Maybe he was injured.
Flop.
Is he injured still?
Flop.
I mean, it's probably something you should check before the podcast.
This is true. I honestly would expect him to start, but it's fair. Good point. Thank you for the criticism, Lucas. But yeah, no.
Smackdown.
Yeah, he's suffered a knee injury on May 25th.
Doing what?
Okay. Yeah.
You can get
Walking
injuries in
up the stairs.
He
training.
sat at home.
To be fair,
Lucas.
players do get injuries in training. I mean,
Glass players, bullshit, little pen.
Look,
Scott Brown does not get injured.
5th place Getafe lost to Granada, so there's that.
Well, let's move on because I think we went through the main parts of La Liga. We don't really know too much about the lower parts of the standings. So I think it's best to move on.
Coppa Italia.
Let's cover Coppa Italia real quick, just because it wasn't too many matches. The final has been set. It will be Juventus versus Napoli in the final. No surprise there.
It's a bit of a surprise, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, Napoli's had
Napoli's a bit of a
has
shock.
had a shaky season. That's correct.
Let's start with the Juventus game, though. Let's get that out of the way, because it was a 0-0 game. It did go to penalties. During the 90 minutes, Ronaldo had a chance to win the game with a penalty shot. He blew it for the first time ever, it seems.
He didn't blow it. He didn't blow it.
I mean, he did.
It was a great
That's
save.
what do you call missing a penalty?
But he didn't score, so he blew it.
It's Cristiano Ronaldo not scoring.
Thank you
a
to
penalty.
Lucas
It's a
for giving the
penalty.
goalkeeper some.
I think
Some
I don't care if
press.
the goalkeeper said he blew it.
it was an
I don't
incredible
give a
save
shit.
by Donnarumma, though. That was like a near perfect penalty, and
Yeah.
Donnarumma still saved it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Donnarumma's been linked with
Choke.
moves to a big club over the past few months. I don't know if that's going to happen in this current economic climate, but I mean, he is a good goalkeeper. He's got lots of potential still. But, you know, the game 0-0, not a hugely exciting fixture.
No, I mean, credit
Does
to
go to
AC Milan.
penalties.
Well, we can't forget what happened 6 seconds after the missed penalty. Rebic just karate kicked Danilo and got sent off.
That happens, Lucas.
Time to
Steve
time.
Rebic
I
doesn't
mean,
care.
you gotta give some praise to AC Milan for fending off Juventus, because Juventus were applying a lot of pressure for most of the match on them. But
I don't think AC Milan deserves praise at all for their past 5 years. They need to sort their shit the fuck out
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not giving them
talked
any
about this
praise
before, though. Lucas had a
until
whole
they
story
climb
on
into the
it.
top 5. What are they in right now? They're in 7th.
Well, this
No,
they
Inter-
haven't played
Inter's
any games
back.
this season right now, so
Dude, Inter was shit too. Remember when Inter was shit? I remember
Inter's
when Inter
actually
was
run
shit.
well
They're good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not giving AC Milan any props until they climb into
I
the
mean,
top 5.
yeah. I mean,
They'll
credit. to-
hopefully they'll come back.
So let's look at it this way then.
38
If Milan and Inter,
Yeah.
if AC Milan and Inter Milan made one team, how many of those AC Milan players would be starting?
Maybe one.
Maybe 2 or 3. Maybe 2
Who
or
are the
3.
three? Who are the three?
That's actually really hard to say, because Handanovic over Donnarumma.
Like Donnarumma, we don't even know is starting for Handanovic.
I'd say Lucas
Yeah.
Hernandez, who's been one of the best fullbacks in the league.
So there's
Lucas
one.
or- yeah.
We have one.
Not Luke.
Lucas
Sorry,
playing?
not Lucas Hernandez.
Theo.
Yeah, Theo
It's Lucas.
Hernandez.
Go Steo.
It's okay.
Yeah. So one.
Yeah,
Someone
Kim
else.
has got a point. Yeah, you know, he's right. Okay.
I mean, Donnarumma, you could argue, because Donnarumma's been one of the best keepers in Serie A, but Handanovic is also one of the best keepers in Serie A. So
yeah, that's the thing.
And other than that, not a soul.
On the other side, Inter and Napoli happened. Christian Eriksen, I think, scored his first goal for the club, if I'm not mistaken.
an Olympico.
Second.
A corner.
Yeah,
From a
and then
corner.
Yeah.
Dries Mertens scored his goal for Napoli. He's now the leading scorer in Napoli's history. which
Did
is
you see
pretty
that
fantastic.
assist from? Well, not
Very
assist, but that
impressive.
kick from Ospina.
No, I did not.
Pick David Ospina.
He just makes a big save. Then later he has the ball, boots it up all the way up the pitch perfectly to a Napoli player, creates a great opportunity for them. Where I think it's Insigne who passes it to Mertens to score the goal. And does that mean Mertens passes Maradona, or does he tie Maradona on the Napoli goal scoring list?
I think
He
he's
passed. I
number
believe he
one.
passed him.
He passed him.
Yeah.
Pretty insane.
I
I feel like
It's an incredible number because I mean Diego Maradona rated one of the best players of all time. I mean,
Dries
just to pass
Mertens
him.
is a player that doesn't get a lot of credit in Europe. I feel like he doesn't get a lot of praise. I don't know why. Maybe because he plays for Napoli, but
I think he gets credit.
not as
love
much
that
as I
guy.
hear compared to some players. I don't know.
Rasta.
Fun fact
Rasta
about David
sees-
Ospina.
Rasta.
Rasta
Fun
sees
fact
the
about
talent.
David Ospina. James Rodriguez broke up with his sister.
Awkward.
Sad.
Well, good
Take
thing.
Oh,
Wow.
That was a while back.
Good thing James Rodriguez didn't sign for Napoli back in the summer.
That would have been mad awkward, isn't it? They were stepbrothers at one point. I don't know.
but that's okay then.
Alright.
Let's move on.
Anyways, so
Coppa
Napoli.
Italia. final.
I'm just picturing David Ospina, James Rodriguez. I was like Will Ferrell, like Step Brothers the movie.
This guy.
Oh,
right now.
no.
This guy's jokes. But yes, the Coppa Italia final has been set. It can be Juventus versus Napoli. Who's winning it, guys? Probably Juventus.
Probably.
I'll give some love to Napoli. I hope they win it. Is Milik actually going to Juventus? Is that kind of how is that transpiring?
That'd be so
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, don't. There's lots of rumors. We don't really know what for sure is going to happen with him. He has 1 year left on his contract. Let's just wait till something is actually finalized, or
So
until
on nie idzie to Juventus, tak?
Nie wiem.
Okay.
Czekaj dla, here we go.
Let's
See,
wait for Fabrizio. That's all we're gonna do.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. If you guys didn't hear, Arkadiusz Milik has been heavily linked with a move to Juventus. He's actually been heavily kind of linked to all over Europe, like Chelsea as well. But it seems Juventus is his destination.
this surely means Higuain gets released from his contract, right?
Honestly,
Sure.
maybe.
Are we done talking about Serie A?
Yeah, I think it's time to
The
move
last
on.
thing
Before-
about
Well,
who do we think's
like-
gonna win?
Juventus.
I will
What
give
can you
Napoli
think
some
Napoli
love.
can pull the upset?
Napoli has been
Definitely.
really
I
good
think you
against
mean
top clubs
Lazio?
since Gattuso's joined, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, it seems Napoli's been in kind of somewhat good form, but even
We're
before
talking
the
about
break.
Lazio. God damn it, guys!
I thought we were talking about the Coppa
Napoli's in what?
Italia final.
Fifth?
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah,
thought we were talking-
Italia.
Oh, then fuck it. No, they're gonna lose that shit. CR7 in a final? Ah, no.
Yeah,
that's good.
sure, but I do think Napoli can definitely be underdogs in this and pull it off. I
Well,
think
with how
before
bad
we
their
go-
season's been, it would be very good to win it. So
other than that, I also think the way we saw how Napoli played against Barcelona in the Champions League, if they can kind of carry over that kind of play.
Bro, it was one draw, man.
Yeah,
Against a
but
team that doesn't shoot. We don't shoot.
No, there's other examples. I'm pretty sure Napoli beat Juventus this year,
They did. Yeah.
No,
they
they're
did.
definitely a good team that's good on the press. It's just
and then they just beat Inter, well, over
Yeah.
2 legs. So yeah, they've been doing well
They've
against the top
improved.
sides.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But let us move on to the Bundesliga.
But before we get to the Bundesliga, we talked about players being released, like Higuain and this and that. PSG announced that Cavani and Thiago Silva are both going to be released at the end of this season. Those are two big names that will be on the European transfer market.
Meunier possibly
Too
soon
big.
too.
Yeah, Thomas Meunier, the right back.
Meunier,
Yeah. So yeah, it's
Cavani,
gonna-
go to Miami. That's what I'm saying.
he's too good for
Cavani
America.
to Miami.
But yeah.
Thiago Silva back to AC Milan.
It is a bit of
Basically-
an end of an era for PSG though. So
Yeah,
100%.
like
I mean,
a player
Thiago Silva, I
like
think, was
Thiago Silva.
the biggest signing like of the new takeover generation kind of thing.
well, in the
Most
beginning, yeah,
influential.
Can,
least.
can we
Yeah.
go to the Bundesliga?
yes.
Dun, dun,
Jesus.
dun, dun.
Calm
Thank you.
down.
Demanding from Waz.
So,
Good, I like it.
of course, the Bayern Munich defeat Mönchengladbach 2-1. I think
good
it's kind
game,
of
actually.
done and dusted. The
I
title's
just wanted to
probably
see
theirs.
some struggle from Bayern towards the end of the season, but no, they get not a near last minute winner against Gladbach. But yeah, congrats to Bayern. They're
Yeah, I mean-
getting closer and closer to mathematically winning the title.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
they're gonna win
it's
They're
expected.
too good. They're too
It's
They pretty
funny
much won.
because Dortmund won their game 1-0. Haaland scored a nice header in that match.
Last minute,
Last
too.
minute.
Last minute.
Yeah,
96
it's funny. 'cause
minute.
they won that game, and then I saw a headline on Twitter: "Borussia Dortmund keep their title hopes alive." I'm like, come on, it's basically done.
It's over.
Don't give him hope. Don't give him
Bayern
that
Munich can
glim.
actually win the title next game if
Yeah,
the results go their way.
Bayern would have to get hit with match fixing to lose this at this point.
but big news coming out of the Bundesliga: Schalke has scored a goal.
That's good.
Yeah,
They-
they drew
Who scored?
Leverkusen 1-1.
2020,
Leverkusen
I
has a
don't think.
terrible result for them. Leverkusen right there. That's why they're not going to be ever a title contending club in the Bundesliga because they 1 week they show up and look brilliant, the next week they draw Schalke's.
That reminds me of another team in the Premier League.
Manchester United,
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal. You want to keep going? Chelsea to
okay.
an extent.
No, it's okay. We'll
Everton.
Just a lot of average. A lot of average in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lot of
Leverkusen
average.
always develop good players, but they always have to sell them because they're never the top team anymore.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Which is a shame because early
They're gonna go to the
2000s they were one of the best teams, except they nearly won everything one season, but they ended up losing everything, including
Yeah.
the Bundesliga at the last match of the season. They lost the Champions League final and the DFB Pokal, I believe they lost.
Yeah.
Who
It's
was on that
okay.
team?
Balak was on it.
Balak, yeah.
Oh, wow. It's
The only
okay
team that's going to be
because
consistently good in that league forever is Bayern Munich.
100%. They have the
That's it.
money
It's
behind
my-
it. They have
That's
the
I
pull
mean-
power.
Don't hit me with this Dortmund shit. Don't. They're just not on the same
next
level.
couple of years
Here's how I'm going to say it. Dortmund should be highly, highly respected because for a team to lose so many talented players over the years and keep finding the next great gem kind of thing, it's incredible. Like their scouting, their development, it's highly, highly incredible.
You know what I also find sad is that they'll sell some of these great players, and then these great players come back and they're not the same. Like Kagawa and Götze, for example.
Yeah.
Like Kagawa was
Shinji.
genius at Dortmund. Then he went to United. He played okay, came back, and then
Roberto Lewandowski will ever go back?
no, God no. He'll go to Real Madrid before he goes back to.
I was not leaving Bayern.
The thing, Dortmund's just in Bayern's shadow like all this time.
Yeah, I mean,
that
don't
entire
get the-
league is in Bayern's shadow. The
If they
entire
were
You
league.
know what I
able-
mean?
if they're ever able to just keep those high-profile players like Aubameyang, for example, and Dembele, they could have such a good shot at winning the title.
Well,
I
if-
wish they kind of did keep Dembele, to be honest.
Yeah,
Fuck
probably less
my life.
injuries maybe at Dortmund, but I don't know. I want to see a Bayern need competition. It's not even fun this point. They're gonna go 8 straight seasons.
They were having
with winning the title?
competition this season and last season, but obviously Dortmund haven't been good enough. Dortmund should have won the title last year, but they weren't good enough. They probably should have won the title this year, but they were not good enough in the first
Honestly,
half of the
it
season.
comes down to defense for Dortmund. Dortmund's defense has always let them down in big games. So
100%.
And also the lack of clinical finishing before
Yeah.
They're just not
Haaland
a-
came.
If
They're
they
just not a
ever
top
want
tier
to
club,
win-
man.
If they
It's
ever
just the way
want to
it
win
is.
the Bundesliga, they need to beat Bayern Munich. When they have the chance to get 6 points over your rivals,
And
you need to take those 6 points.
They're just not a top tier team, man. And I hate to say that because I love Dortmund. I love the way they play. But look at it. Look at it this way. Who does Bayern ever lose? Dortmund's 2 best players are guaranteed to leave in the next 2 years. 3 max. It's never. They're never going to be on that level.
That's what we were talking about. They just always keep leaving.
You can't say never
it's just-
because
it's-
like
I don't think, dude. I don't know, man. Because Bayern's always going to have the money to bring in. Oh my god, Bayern's always going to have money to bring in. I've just died. Regardless,
they
yeah.
also
better
have
edit
players
that out,
coming
Lucas. I'll
through
murder
every
you.
season.
I
mean, it's game. Sorry, Lucas. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I get your
They just
point
don't-
there, Matt. But like football is always cyclical though. Like no team has ever dominated football for 30 straight years.
that's how it's been. Barcelona's been good forever. Real Madrid's been good forever. Manchester
Spanish
United had a
football.
couple bad seasons, but they're still easily finishing top 6.
But
we're
they've been
Liverpool
good forever. But
Liverpool's having a good season. Like the most cyclical it's ever been is in the Premier League. Bayern Munich's always going to have way more money than everyone in that league, except for
Give a shout
Leipzig.
to Celtic. We've always been up there.
Dude. Oh,
We even count.
well,
them.
Celtic's
Been
been
good
with
for a while.
Celtic's been with Rangers for a bit though.
but
Like
But
last few
unfortunately,
seasons, obviously not.
The
But
cycle is going to continue for Dortmund as they sell another hot prospect in Jadon Sancho.
and then Haaland.
Unless they keep.
And then what?
I feel like Haaland is gonna be he's gonna be very determined to win a title with Dortmund, but it likely won't happen.
I don't see him staying past
it's
2
like-
years.
It's like Liam
How
said.
old is
They need to
Lewandowski?
actually beat Bayern.
How old is Lewandowski?
he's like
32,
30 some.
So let's say he's 32 years old. In 2 seasons, 34, 35. Perfect time for Haaland to move over to Bayern Munich. And
Personally,
take over as top striker.
This is gonna be a bold show, but I believe Lewandowski can be consistent till he's like 37. With how fit he is, I think he can.
It just takes one injury, but
Yeah, you're right. One injury, but
He could snap a knee doing his TikTok dances and be out for the rest of the year.
he's
I
still
love the
he's
guy,
so
but
fit,
oh my god,
but his
bro.
body
so
is
bad.
supernatural because he has had injuries. And
That
he has
wink
kept the same
kills
form.
me. Dude, the wink. I don't give a shit about the dances. The wink. When he winks at me, I honestly want to throw my phone. Yeah? I can't.
Get away.
Yeah, Robert is going to be keeping it up for a while.
What other results stood out to us in the Bundesliga?
There was a big result actually from Werder Bremen. They beat Paderborn 5-1.
Is that really a big result?
I mean they're getting
not
closer and
really.
closer out of the automatic relegation spot.
Yeah. I
because-
forgot Werder's crap too. I'm so used to Werder being good.
Union beat Cologne 2-1, so that's a big result for them, keeping their relegation battle. Currently in the Bundesliga, there's a discussion. Is Hansi Flick's Bayern better than Pep's or Yupp's?
No. 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 No.
And I
No.
don't think so. 'Cause
Who the fuck asked that?
Yeah.
it's on the Bundesliga website.
They're definitely,
oh
definitely
my God.
not better. Definitely not better
Oh,
than
that's such a
Heynckes'
dumb
team.
question, bro.
Such a
Even-
different team.
Even Peps,
Heynckes-
man.
Peps was great.
Peps is not as good as Jupankis, but it's 100% better than this one.
That Jupankis team, right before he left for the first time, I think was one of, if not the best team I've ever watched play. Like, just
it was probably
so quick.
Yeah,
they won the treble when he left.
No, I agree.
So good.
Liam, I agree. I think it's second best of the last decade. First being MSN.
No, I think when was 2011? No, I think approaching the end of Pep's time at Barcelona was probably the best team we had.
Really?
Pep's Barcelona was brilliant, but their midfield ran the show. Plus, they had a golden generation Messi up front.
Like that entire team just felt right, whereas with MSN it was just like you can't defend. You can't defend those three. It's not possible. I don't think.
Robin and Ribery in their prime, plus a Lewandowski up front with a Thomas Muller, plus a Podolski. Like
Lewandowski didn't play under Jupp the first time.
Yeah.
No.
I did not understand a word you just said, Lucas. I'm sorry.
Lewandowski only played against under Guardiola. He never played with Jupp.
Oh,
only once. True, only when Jupp took over again.
Who was center forward? Who was center forward for them then?
Mandzukic.
It was Mario Mandzukic, yeah.
Mario.
Yeah.
Where is that guy now?
Oh, there's also Mario Gomez before.
That guy's.
Where did Mandzukic
go?
That guy needs an icon.
The face of the earth.
Dude, that guy's an icon, bro.
Mario Mandzukic, Matt, he's currently playing for Al Dual.
Yeah, he's out in Dubai, I think, or Abu Dhabi.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's a shame.
Money.
I wouldn't mind him at United.
All right. Do we want to move on to the interview, then talk about the Premier League afterwards?
Yeah. Jimmy time.
Guys, please enjoy this fantastic interview. Sit down with Jimmy Conrad. Some of the craziest stories I've ever heard in football, and he gets very heated about the U.S. men's national team. So
as they should. That team's.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Thank you, Jimmy. Here you go.
Okay, guys. Hello and welcome back to a brand new. We got a brand new guest here on the 90th minute. We've got the legendary Conradinho, Jimmy Conrad. Jimmy, how's it going?
It's going great now that I'm talking to you guys.
Thank you for being on here. Yeah, you've been like our top 5 guests to get on the podcast, so it's a great start. You're up there with like Alphonso Davies, maybe one day. So first of all, Jimmy, I guess to start off, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you the short response because I'm a long talker. I would say the best way, the way that I always say it is that I'm your favorite former U.S. men's national team player, Jimmy Conrad. I played in the league for 12 years, MLS that is. I played for the U.S. men's national team in the Coppa America and the World Cup. Played against some really good players, maybe Messi, you've heard of before, R9 Ronaldo, Zidane, Beckham, Roberto Carlos, all those guys. Big thrill to have had that type of career, but just as excited to do what I'm doing now and getting to be a fan ultimately and getting to kind of spread the good vibes that come with the beautiful game around the world and get to talk to you guys like this, right? This opportunity is super cool too. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in between, but that's the overall.
Also, great hair.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That's why I came on. Now, my quarantine hair is a little needs some help, but I'll take that. I'll take that compliment. Thank you.
So many people dream of playing in a World Cup, and you've done that. And so how does it feel like just walking onto the pitch in your first ever World Cup match?
I was pretty nervous. The game that I got to play first was Italy, and I came on as a sub. So I didn't really have too much time to be nervous. I was just went from 0 to 1,000. You don't need to warm up. You're so ready to go. And I didn't want to make any mistakes. Obviously, you got a gajillion people watching at home. You're playing against the eventual World Cup champions and against some of my heroes, Andrea Pirlo in particular. And so that was a big thrill for me. But the next time when I played, I knew I was going to start against Ghana 5 days later. I was really nervous. I had some of my worst trainings for the national team. The coaches came up to me and asked me if I was okay. I mean, that's how visibly poor I was playing. But they stuck with me. I knew that once the whistle blew, I'd be ready to go. And I thought I held my own at the highest stage, and that's something I'll always be very proud of.
No, definitely. I mean, I think everyone dreams of playing at that stage. I mean, I know definitely we did when we were kids, but now we're talking about a beautiful game. I guess my first question for you is more so directly related to what's happening in the game right now. I guess we should talk about North American football to start off with. What are your thoughts on the MLS coming back right now? The MLS is back tournament, and who do you see kind of going far in the tournament?
Well, I think they should come up with maybe a little bit more of a creative name, or not give it a name at all. It's a funny name to call a tournament. I'm excited that it's back. I know that the circumstances aren't what everybody wants, but sports are an escape for a lot of people from real life, so it's important to have that balance. And so from that standpoint, I'm excited. Mm-hmm. I wish, we were back in stadiums and maybe trying to mimic what the Bundesliga and La Liga are doing to a certain extent, where you're still playing at your home stadium. You're still somewhat in your friendly confines, though we've learned from the Bundesliga that it's not much of a home field advantage. So most of the away teams are actually getting big wins. But I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what it looks like. The NWSL is starting up too. I know the NBA, and I'm sure baseball won't be too far behind. Mm-hmm. And we'll see how it all plays out. I mean, our country's a little bit bigger, so it's harder to get everybody on the same page in terms of, and every state has different laws in terms of what they're doing to fight the pandemic. And that makes it a little bit more complicated than, say, a Germany or a Spain, who can get everybody on one page together.
Who do you have as favorites in this tournament then, since it's a different style of tournament?
Sure. God, that's a good question. I mean, I think I saw the Colorado Rapids going off at 40-1 to win this tournament.
Wow.
I mean, you might as well put money on everybody. Like, because who knows? Who the hell knows how they're going to come out and play? I mean, I think it's that much of a crapshoot. So it's really hard to say exactly who's going to win. But, I mean, it's hard to get away from the Atlantas and LAFCs and Seattles and Torontos, who have that core of players. They know how to win games. They've got good leadership. The teams that have good leadership ultimately can hold each other accountable on the field, and I think that makes a big difference.
Another question. Any opinions on the state of Canadian football? Well, we're Canadians, so we kind of want to know your thoughts on it right now. And also, do you see CONCACAF teams becoming more competitive? So
the first part is an easy joke. I'm happy for you guys to have qualified for the 2026 World Cup already. That must be a big deal for you. That's one. Second, I think you have arguably one of the best young players in the world, who's Canadian, and Alphonso Davies. So I'm excited about that. I think his success is really important, because a lot of young kids in Canada will now look up to him and look to him as somebody that, if he can do it, I can do it. And that is really important for young players to see. So that'll be really important. As for CONCACAF teams getting better, 100%. I think MLS has already proven that they're making the smaller nations a little bit better, hence why we didn't qualify, amongst many reasons, for the 2018 World Cup. There's a lot to break down there for sure. But yeah, I think it's better. If everybody's better around us, it's just going to force our national teams to get better. And I've got no problem with it. I think CONCACAF is tough. I've been through World Cup qualifying before. There are no easy games. Even when you go down to Trinidad, if you go down to Guatemala, the teams that maybe shouldn't beat you, but they give you a hard time. Those aren't easy games to play in. And I know that Europe can say they have the same, and they have to go to Lithuania or San Marino or wherever the hell they're going, Liechtenstein or whatever. I'm like, we beat those teams 12-0. It's not the same, So our region is interesting, and Canada can attest to it as well. It's not easy to get through the group, and to get into the hex and to have success. So, I'm excited though. I think Canadian football is on the up and up. I'm happy that you guys have your own league and you're doing your own thing and not necessarily relying on the states to help you out, because they probably weren't looking out for you guys and maybe the way that you thought you should. And it'll be interesting to see how that blends together as the sport evolves. Maybe after the 2026 World Cup, there'll be a healthy and vibrant second division. So there'll be promotion, relegation, and then everybody can start working together. But we'll see, because money usually drives those decisions.
No, definitely.
I wanted to move on. Mention something from your Draw Your Life video, which is probably one of the best videos on the YouTube platform in general. A very motivating story. You talk about going to the field every day after hearing from a former men's U.S. national team's father.
Mm-hmm.
And, you went to the field every day and kept getting better and better and ended up becoming a professional. For people watching who want to maybe become a football player or start something in general, how do you get started, and how do you keep on going without giving up?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm actually living it in some ways now, right? Because I start a YouTube channel or I start a Twitch channel. Like, for instance, I'm doing a new live show on Twitch. Well, people don't go to Twitch to watch a variety show. They don't go on Twitch to necessarily look at a talk show. They go on Twitch to watch other people play video games, you know? So that's its own challenge. But because I've lived through it before, because I've fought these battles before, and I know that there is success if you stick with it, that doesn't, so I don't get deterred. All I do is try to learn from the mistakes, try to understand what the audience wants, and then continue to build. Now, I will say there's an element of it, and I talk to my team that's helping me. As long as we're having fun, that is by far the most important thing. If we're not enjoying the process, then there's going to be no pull to want to continue to learn and get better. So if you're making a decision to become a professional soccer player in particular, and that wasn't really my dream, because there wasn't MLS when I was a kid. There was no, and you couldn't see games, the Premier League from across the pond. You could, the TV wasn't as sophisticated as it is now, and there was no internet. That's how old I am, guys. And so it was really just a matter of whether I could do it. And I wanted to be a more vital member of my team. I wanted the coach to count on me, right? So it really started with these little baby steps. And I can't tell you how good of a feeling it is when you achieve that, because you're starting to make good decisions on the ball. You're starting to make plays. I coach a team now in the 4th division here in this country. And I love a lot of the guys on my team, but ultimately I didn't have enough guys last season that knew how to make plays, like to make plays. But where that all starts, where you get the confidence to step up and make plays, is by doing the little things when no one's watching. So you have to go to the park. You have to go to a school, find a wall. You have to work on your game. You have to, I think the biggest thing for me, Lucas, in particular, was when I first went out, once I learned and got this information that, and the big crux of your messaging and what I said in the Draw My Life, and I thank you for the kind words, was that once the coach said, hey, my son who played in the World Cup, all he did was go work on his game every day for 2 hours. That was a big light bulb for me, because then I knew at that moment that it was up to me to decide how good I was going to be at anything. It wasn't up to anybody else. So yeah, you could have a ton of experience, and even me, I could look at you guys and watch you play and be like, you're not good enough right now or whatever. But that doesn't mean you can't be good enough in the future. You know what I mean? Because it's up to you to decide. So the biggest and hardest thing for me, and what I'm most proud about in some ways, was that when I first went out there, I didn't know what to do. Like, okay, I'm supposed to be out here for 2 hours. What am I supposed to work on? You know, I didn't have any games to play, no foot games, no coaches. I didn't know what to do. So I'm like, okay, I know my left foot kind of sucks. I mean, I think it's okay, but it kind of sucks. I don't know. So I started juggling with my left foot, and it was actually worse than I could have ever imagined. It was bad. And I was embarrassed. You know, when you get embarrassed, but usually you get embarrassment because people are around. There was nobody around, and I was embarrassed. That's how bad my left foot was. So I went home after 10 minutes because I was just like, it's easier to play video games than it is to like try to get better. But where I'm proud of myself is I pushed myself to go out again the next day. I still didn't know what I was doing. I was still pretty ashamed, but I'm like, the only way I'm going to get better is if I have to keep doing this, I think. So I kept doing it, and then I slowly got better. At practice, I could feel myself getting better. I was a lot more calm on the ball. I was a lot more assured, and that confidence was so key. And once you get that, it's the juice, boys. It is the drug. And you start to go, that 10 minutes is like, whoa, wow, if I practice for 20 minutes, would I be even better? If I practice for an hour, imagine that. And then you just start to add all these layers to your game. And like, wow, maybe if I started lifting weights, I'd be stronger. If I started running and learning that, I could be faster. And once you start to add all those components, you start to take big steps and leaps over everybody. And it's crazy. And so that was always my talent was like commitment. My talent was dealing with perseverance, dealing with adversity. And so everybody asked me, hey, what's the shortcut? How did you become a World Cup player? And the secret is there is no shortcuts. That's it. And that can go from school, that can go for music, acting, making YouTube videos, whatever it is. You can't, there are no shortcuts. But nobody wants to hear that. Everybody wants the secret sauce. But that is the secret sauce.
No, yeah, I could definitely agree with that, especially when it comes to content creation. Like people on my Twitch stream, they'll come to me and they'll ask, how do you get viewers? How do you do this? Like, you got to start somewhere. You got to stay consistent. It doesn't happen overnight. So yeah. You can apply that for anything in life.
Agreed.
I guess my question now is, once again, back to the U.S. What do you think that the U.S. need to do to go back and not just qualify at the World Cup, but also just compete and progress?
Man, how much time do you have? This is a long one.
Give us a short answer.
Yeah, I'm not a short answer guy, but I'll do my best. I would say that we have more than enough players that want to play the game in this country. No question. We need to develop better coaching, and we need to develop a system that rewards coaches for developing players. So, for instance, I'll give you an example, not too far from where you guys in Seattle, DeAndre Yedlin, okay? So this drives me absolutely insane. It still pisses me off. I will never stop yelling about it until it changes. DeAndre Yedlin gets developed by the Starfire Academy, okay? He then joins the Sounders Academy. Sounders plays for them, goes to a World Cup, gets sold to Tottenham. Now, FIFA puts a thing in place to protect these youth clubs from being exploited, right? Where they develop these players and the players get, dangled with some money, and then those youth clubs don't get anything in compensation, don't get compensated. So they're supposed to get 5%, Starfire. He sells for like $2 or $3 million to Tottenham. So they should get like, I don't know, 150, 200 grand. It's not that much, all things considered, right? But it's the precedent. So MLS and US Soccer both say, we're not going to give you the solidarity payment. We're not going to give you that 5%. So when you set that message from the very top that that's how you're going to handle youth clubs, why would any youth club ever give a player to an MLS academy? Why? There's no incentive. So we have to figure out a way to reward those coaches that are actually doing the good work and passing their players on, that they're going to be compensated for that hard work. Because right now they don't get shit, and it sucks. It sucks. So that needs to change. It has to change. And when and that has to change for a lot of reasons, but the biggest reason is so that we're all rowing the boat in the same direction. When you have the youth guys doing one thing and then the guys at the top doing something different, we're not going to get our best players. It's just not going to happen. And then all of a sudden you have all these players that fall through the cracks, and there's these politics, and then players and parents get frustrated, and they're like, well, screw it, we're going to go play another sport or whatever it is. So it starts there. Then you have coaching that has to be developed. You have to have scouting that's developed. There has to be trust between the levels, and there has to be good, clear communication. And that starts with U.S. Soccer. Whether they want that responsibility or not, it starts with them as our governing body. So anyway, I'll rant over, but that's what I'll say about it.
No, it's fantastic. No, and also you can say how expensive it is to play the sport in the U.S. compared to other countries. Yeah, that's a thing. So, Lucas.
Well, let's bring Jimmy's mood back up because
listen, I can hit the switch. You tell me when to hit the switch.
Okay, well,
fantastic.
Well, you brought up before we started the picture of you tackling Messi. And I'd also like to hear you talk about the story about Riquelme. And,
yeah.
So that's one I really enjoy, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So we played against Argentina in the Copa America. We go down to Venezuela, and it's intense there, especially for Americans, because that relationship between the two countries is, let's say, not on the best. I don't know. They don't have the best relationship. And Hugo Chavez, who's a dictator that wasn't really well liked, was still in charge, and blah, 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 blah. So we go down and do this thing, and it's an intense tournament, intense experience. We play Argentina first. I wish we would have played them last in the group, so we kind of eased into playing some of the best players in the world. But we get them first. And for the first 20 minutes of the game, Riquelme doesn't tie his shoes. I'm like, what? Like, have some goddamn respect. I don't care if you think the U.S. is whatever. It's the Copa America. It's like, it's the Euros of South America. Like, tie your shoes, dude. So we score first. We get Eddie Johnson gets through, and he gets dragged down, and we get a penalty, and we go up 1-0. So we're 10 minutes. We score. I was like 10 to 15 minutes in, and we score. And as I go celebrate, I run by Riquelme, and I grab his arm, and I tell him to tie his fucking shoes, is what I tell him to do. Because I was pissed. I mean, honestly, it's disrespectful not to tie your shoes, dude. Like even if you saw a guy do it in men's league, you're like, tie your shoes, you asshole, tie your shoes, okay? So I go over there and then celebrate, and he doesn't tie his shoes. So fast forward like 10 more minutes, they get a free kick, maybe like 15 minutes, like 30th minute or something. They get a free kick, and before the free kick that he's taking, he ties his shoes. They score on that play, and we go on to lose the game 4-1, and now I totally regret telling Riquelme to tie his shoes, okay?
Oh.
So, yeah, it was pretty crazy. But, I mean, it was cool. I mean, ultimately, they were better than us anyway. We weren't going to win that game by any stretch of the imagination, but we could have held them off potentially, maybe made it a 1-1. And just kind of like, Jose Mourinho'd it and sat on top of the box. But it was cool. I mean, I got to play against Messi and got a good clean tackle against him, and Crespo and Riquelme and Cambiaso and Zanetti's a fucking beast, and just, it's one thing to see these guys on TV, but then when you play against them and to see their quality and to see how they move and how they create space and what they do off the ball, it really is incredible. And these guys are world-class players for a reason.
No, yeah, I don't know what I would do if I was in that position. I can see that. I've never played against anyone who's ever like played without untied shoes, so that's different. I've never heard of that. But that's wild.
I mean, I played against like player once who I played against a team who were obviously much better than us. They got a penalty shot and they let their goalkeeper take it. Their goalkeeper hit the post, so then I just go to the goalkeeper's ear and just yell at him.
Good.
That's awesome.
But
Perfect.
were you much of a trash talker on the field or not really?
No, I would pick my spots. I mean, if I felt disrespected or if somebody tried to dive, or similar to that, the goalkeeper comes up, he thinks he's hot shit, and then he misses. Like of course you're gonna give him an earful there, but no, I wouldn't go out of my way to be like, I'm gonna talk trash to this guy unless I knew or I heard that he's a bit of a mental midget, and that if you got into him a little bit, then. I mean, I'm all for getting an advantage. If it's going to make my life easier for 90 minutes, I'm going to take it. But more often than not, no, I was never trying to belittle somebody. I always wanted to outplay somebody. I wanted to be better than you because I was a better player, not because, I was necessarily trying to get in your head and be a jerk. So,
I guess a question I have about your career then is one moment of your career a lot of people don't really talk about, I guess. During your time at Lech Poznan, how did that go about? I mean, I think I saw online you played only 8 matches over there, and like, how was your time in Poland, and what's like a big difference you saw between European football and North American at the time?
Yeah, honestly, I'll be honest. When I first got asked to go or had the possibility to go to Poland, I was kind of like anybody else, like Poland, really, like what? Germany, England, France, Spain, Italy, one of the top 5 leagues. I can't go loan over there. But there was a Polish player on my team, Wojtek Krakowiak, who was the Herman Award winner at Clemson. So that's like the Heisman Trophy for college soccer. And he had a connection there. And our season ended pretty early. We didn't make the playoffs. So we were pretty bad that year with the San Jose Earthquakes. And so they're like, hey, we'll take on a couple more Americans. So me and Ian Russell, who is now coaching, was coaching the Quakes for a while, and now he's at Fresno in the lower divisions. Or no, Reno, excuse me. But, we went over there. And we got to help them fight relegation. We got to play in their FA Cup. We got to do all these things. And it was really cool. I will say, though, that as an American, they don't have any respect for you as a player. And so not only do you have to win over your opponent, you definitely have to win over your teammates. And what you learn, too, and I'm sure this happens many times over to any player that's leaving their home country to go somewhere else, you have to win over, like, the guys that are already there. You're taking a spot from one of their friends. And you're taking a livelihood away from one of their friends. So that makes it doubly hard, because not only do they just make it hard for you. You get isolated. You feel really lonely. Now, then you have to just stick it out, and you have to continue to push. Now, thankfully, I had a couple teammates for my own team that were there with me. If I was there by myself, I think it would have been a much different experience. Now, the hooligans over there are absolutely nuts. And it's crazy, man. I actually loved it because I grew up in Southern California, never really exposed to that type of intensity or atmosphere before. So to give you a couple stories, if you won at home, everything was free. Like, you go out, drinks were free, food was free. Like, everybody knew in the city how the team did. Like, we were front page news. That was interesting for me, right? I mean, even coming from the Earthquakes, where we were like 3rd or 4th or not even talked about in the sports page, to be the only thing that people were talking about was pretty awesome. The problem was, if you lost at home, you get your ass beat if they saw you outside trying to have a good time. So you had to kind of figure that out. So we lost only 1 game at home during my time, and we were up 1-0, okay, with 10 minutes left. And our goalkeeper gives up 2 really, really bad goals. Now, looking back, I think he got paid to give up those goals. I honestly believe the fix was in. I mean, he was very good for us, and then all of a sudden he gave up 2 that weren't. I mean, okay, 1, a mistake happens here or there, but I'm talking like Loris Karius in the Champions League final type mistakes. Like, there's just no way, and so after the game ends, he runs into the locker room first. We lose 2-1, and the hooligans jump over this barbed wire fence and chase him into the locker room, because all the old guys that were there, like security, were all like old former players that can't move anymore. And these young hooligan guys are just massive dudes. And they're like storming, like 15, 20 of them, and they're going to go beat the shit out of this guy. So they go into this. I'm like, what am I? Where am I? This is crazy. They finally get him cornered in the shower. He still has all of his clothes on. He was hiding in the shower that he could lock the door. They break the door down. He's like kind of curled up in the corner. He's crying, and they start like kicking him and stuff. And it was nuts. I was like, this is insane, but kind of awesome at the same time. That like the game matters this much to people,
Yeah.
I just didn't grow up in that environment. So there was that. Then I saw them fight other fans, and they're shooting bottle rockets at each other. And I saw these big grown guys crying with like their faces are all bloody, and their fans are trying to spit on me. And yeah, it was awesome, dude. I really loved my time there. But I will say that the respect that I didn't get from opponents, like guys would just try to cheap shot me all the time to get me in trouble with the referee, punch me in the face, jab me in the shoulder. I mean, I'll say that for my career, from a development standpoint, I came home a lot tougher. Like before, I might have been a little soft. I wasn't soft anymore when I came back because you just don't get treated very well, and that was probably a good thing for me.
So that story might explain why Polish football didn't do well in the mid 2000s and 90s. So yeah, we're big Polish supporters, so it's like that explains a lot.
Yeah.
So Lucas, got anything else? I got questions as well.
Match fixing or controversial. Like, what was the most controversial moment that happened in your career for you?
I mean, outside of that one, which I don't know was that overly controversial because, I mean, he did a good job if it was fixed. Again, it's still speculation. And I enjoyed my time at Lech, and the fans were great to me, and I still have a great relationship with the club. And I went back there in the 2012 Euros and visited the city and saw the club, and it's really cool. And Robert Lewandowski played there, so there's a lot of cool tie-ins now. And I can't thank him enough for the opportunity. It was very, very cool. But the one that was biggest for me was the 2006 World Cup. We were playing against Ghana. We gave up one of the sketchiest penalties of all time. It was essentially our big center back going up with a header with a really tiny forward. And he called, I don't know if the fix was in or what, dude, but I will stand by the fact that was one of the sketchiest penalties I've ever seen. 1 minute before halftime. And in a game where I'll just speculate that because South Africa was hosting the World Cup in 2010, they definitely needed, you would think they would need an African team to make the round of 16 and the knockout rounds to kind of help build some buzz. I think it would help, right? But again, still speculation. I might be taking a big leap here, but when you see the call, it's so bad. And not to say we would have beat Ghana. We needed to win to go through, and it was still 1-1 at that point. But once they got 2-1, it was locked down, and we lost all of our momentum, and it sucked. But that penalty for me was super sketchy, and the one that I would say was probably one of the most controversial. And there's nothing you can do about it, man. It's the World Cup, and then Ghana goes on and loses to Brazil in the next round. But and then Ghana had our number for like the next 2 World Cups too. But it's that would be the one. I wish we could roll a clip on that because it's such bullshit, man. It's hard to believe that maybe something wasn't happening, or even if Sepp Blatter's like, hey, by the way, if you have a chance to maybe call a penalty and help Ghana win, we wouldn't hold it against you. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to do a series where I go fly and go talk to this referee and just put him under a ton of pressure to see if he would answer whether that was a shitty call.
I would love to watch that.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah.
How do you get over something like that, though? Like, that must be very difficult.
Lucas, you don't. You stay bitter for the rest of your life.
Definitely. Jesus.
Yeah.
A question we actually have from one of our hosts, Liam. He says his only question is, like, he's a big Scottish Premiership guy. He loves Celtic, but he says the Scottish Premiership is known as a tough tackling league. And Jimmy, being a defender in your day, who is the toughest and most physical opponent you've ever faced that you can remember?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, wow. I mean, I played against Thomas Gravesen when he was at Real Madrid. I thought that he was only out there to enforce, and I actually think that was when that team maybe struggled a bit because they had Claude Makelele beforehand who could do it a little bit more. He was like N'Golo Kante before N'Golo Kante. He could go both ways, maybe even smoother than N'Golo Kante, frankly. And then when they brought in Gravesen, who they thought would do the same, he just didn't really fit because he was just an enforcer. So I remember that game playing against Madrid and him just kicking the shit out of all of our players and us never getting into a rhythm. Like, it helped, but it wasn't maybe not the prettiest way of getting things done. I'm trying to think who else. Who else was like a straight up enforcer that I went up against? I mean, there's a couple of guys in MLS. I played with one, Nick Garcia, who I hated when I played against them. And then you kind of love those guys when they're on your team. So
yeah.
Nick Garcia would be up there. I'm just trying to think of like this 2-footed blades that are just looking to blade anybody.
Didn't the U.S. play against Italy in the 2006 World Cup? Would Gattuso be one?
Gattuso, I think by the time I got in, he was out. I don't know if he was on the field at that point because they were up a man and they were trying to push forward. So I think they might have taken Gattuso out to bring in Del Piero, which must suck, right, to have Del Piero on your bench. But I would say Gravison was the one that was just like, this guy's an absolute machine, dude. He's just a kicking machine. I didn't really feel like he wowed me with his ability on the ball per se. He plays simple, but he was just looking to kick people.
What player that you faced in your career do you think deserves more credit compared to what they receive now?
Good question. So R9 Ronaldo for sure. I don't know. I mean, people give him that respect, but I don't feel like they fully commit to the statement. Maybe because they don't see enough of him, but if you look at old YouTube stuff, I mean, that guy was eating people up. Whether he's at PSV or even that one season at Barcelona, especially when he was young, he's just so good. So I would say him to a certain extent. I think it's pretty well known that he's one of the best number 9s of all time. I really enjoyed Berbatov, playing against Berbatov against Manchester United. I know that he gets some respect, but he's so good, dude. He's filthy with the ball.
Oh yeah.
So it's tough. You don't really know how to defend him. So he would be up there as well. I'm trying to think all the big opponents I played against. No, I mean everybody else, I think for the most part got the respect they deserved. I think maybe it was more from a U.S. perspective. I know Clint and Landon, they both get a lot of love. I think Johnny O'Brien, who really was a star for us in the 2002 World Cup, didn't play much in the 06 World Cup with me, but you could pass him a ball. He played at Ajax. He went over to Ajax he grew up in my area. He went over to Ajax at 18.
Oh, wow.
And he would go over there and train, but he went over there and the guy is so good. And so the best part about him is that he retired at age 29, completely disappeared, and now just recently got his doctorate in psychology. So he's Dr. John O'Brien now. Yeah, I mean, the guy's an animal, dude. I mean, and Claudio Reyna, obviously, I think gets the respect he deserves, but I'd put John O'Brien right up there. I mean, and Claudio played in 4 World Cups, and you could it's one of those guys that slows the game down. You doesn't matter the situation, he'll slow the game down, and then not only that, he'll play the right pass after that, right, which is another skill in itself. So from a U.S. perspective, I'd say John O'Brien and then Steve Cherundolo, who played right back at Hanover for 11 or 12 years. He's 5'6", but he's cute as a button, and and the guy could play, man. His understanding of the game was so good. He's kind of like Philip Lahm, little guy, but just knew how to play the game.
Just so intelligent.
So good.
What about Tim Howard?
I think Tim Howard gets the love that he deserves. Yeah. I mean, I'd probably agree with most of the names you could throw at me, but I think Tim Howard gets a lot of love. They're making a movie about him, right? So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Lucas, do you have a question? Because I got a couple still.
You can ask one before me.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess another question from Liam as well. He says, with TikTok and YouTube, this is more of a YouTube question, but also related to football. He's like, do you feel that North American football content is just kind of not taken as seriously?
I think it depends. Well, yeah. So I run into it too. I mean, what's funny is that you'd think with my playing background that I would get, and I had to learn this early, that I would get, a little bit more credibility in what I was saying and how I was breaking down the game. But because I don't have an accent, like an English accent, I get torn down. Like, oh, shut up, you stupid American, you stupid Yankee. I get a lot of that. I still do. And then once people find out that I played, then they give me a different vibe, or there's a little bit more respect there. And I'm sure Lucas can talk about it in the comments as well. Somebody who's seen it kind of happen in real time. So yeah, I think with North American content, it's interesting. I don't think people are looking to hear from Americans on the beautiful game. And that's the same as players. They're not looking like, coaches, scouts, fans from over other leagues. They're like, oh, I wonder what's happening in America. I wonder what Americans think about my league. It's like the last thing on their list, So we have an uphill battle in a lot of different ways, but we still have a lot of talented people and teams and players worth talking about. And And once we get our shit together, then it's only a matter of time before we start owning it. Just like, Canada with Alphonso Davies. I mean, you get a couple more players, and you guys are right there in the thick of the conversation.
Also, how have you kind of enjoyed creating content on TikTok too?
Yeah, TikTok's funny, man. What I like about it is you just kind of try stuff. Some of it hits and some of it doesn't, and you can just take it down or you can just let it ride or whatever. I mean, I think it shows a different kind of personality set. I can be a little bit goofier. I'm kind of goofy anyway, but I think we can try stuff and get into character a little bit more. And I've slowed down a little bit. I was pretty hot and heavy there for a while and built up a decent audience. I think I'm around 40,000 followers now, but I started to pivot a little bit into this Twitch thing. And so there's so many platforms, man.
Yeah.
Trying to you get spread out a little bit, but I love TikTok. It's fun.
Okay, I guess we can hop into maybe just some Premier League talk. It's coming back next week.
Yeah, sure.
I guess, how do you see the top 4 shipping up, more so like Chelsea, Leicester, United? Because we already know the top 2, but how do you see it shaping up right now?
I think Chelsea's going to be in the top 3 if they can, for the next 10 years, if they can make all these signings they're talking about with Timo Werner, and I know they got Ziyech and potentially Jadon Sancho and Kai Havertz. Doesn't bode well for Christian Pulisic, so I'm a little disappointed. I want him to still get minutes. Leicester, I could see potentially doing it. You can't sleep on, Arsenal or Manchester United. Well, you can't sleep on Arsenal. They're not very good. But Spurs, Manchester United could potentially put a run together. You don't know. But I think Leicester and Brendan Rodgers, given what they've done so far, I think they deserve a top 4, frankly. I think they've been consistent, and I think they got a nice spirit about them. So I hope that they finish in the top 4.
No, yeah. I mean, United have been knocking at Chelsea's door for a while there. They've been stuck in 5th or 6th, bouncing up and down. But I guess, how have you felt with Ole as manager there?
I think he's brought back more of a spirit, to be honest with you, and a little bit more of the old school kind of vibes that maybe Sir Alex had. And obviously he played there under him, so he can speak to all that stuff in a real way. I heard he's a real players manager, so he's very transparent with his communication, doesn't try to hide anything, isn't looking to play the media in any particular way like Mourinho or, even Van Gaal had his own way of doing stuff. So I like Ole. I think he's just got to have some time to kind of maybe shed some of the signings that weren't his, Sure, they overpaid for Harry Maguire, but you gave him the captain's armband, which I thought was a shrewd move, and the guy starts playing better. Wan-Bissaka, maybe he hasn't lit it up like he did at Crystal Palace, but he will. You know what I mean? Like, you can see it's just a matter of him getting comfortable. They still have some holes to fill. If Pogba doesn't want to be there anymore, then ship him out and bring some people that do. But yeah, I think if Pogba leaves, they definitely need to have 1 or 2 signings that really indicate that they're back. So if they can get a Kai Havertz, if they can get a player that people want to play with, that means they're going to get more signings, I think they've lost a little bit of that allure that they used to have, and they need to figure out a way to get that back. And when Pogba's around, and if he's not happy, then it just it doesn't elevate, right? They need to be elevated in some ways. And I like Pogba. I think he's a fantastic player, a World Cup winner for a reason. But this goes for any player. If you're not happy with where you are, then it's probably best for both parties to move on and do something else. So I think United could be good. I mean, they're probably a couple pieces away from really pushing forward, and they got some good young players too. You seem like a United fan? Is that why?
Yes, I got a scarf back there.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
So yeah, Liverpool supporter. So
yeah, well, it must be nice. Yeah.
Another Premier League side that has a lot of question marks right now is Arsenal. Arteta, I feel he can bring them back to life. Do you see any possibilities there?
I think he can too. I think very similar to Pep. It took even Pep a year with Man City to figure out how to kind of get that style in place, get the players around him. And this is Pep with some of the world's best players, still trying to get them on the same page. It's going to take Arteta, I think, a little while to shed some players that might not fit the system. They got to do something about Mesut. As much as I think he's super talented, and I've seen him play a couple times live, and he doesn't talk about a player who doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. Seeing him play live and how much influence he does have on the game, and actually he's the only one that has the talent to kind of break the lines and make things happen. I think he gets shit on quite a bit. But when you make more money than everybody else, drastically more money than everybody else, that comes with the territory, I think. And so it might be time to move on from him and try to get some other players in and build around, maybe a couple of younger guys. I like Aubameyang and Lacazette. I wish they would play together a little bit more. I don't know. I mean, their back four is a shambles. I mean, if you're going to have David Luiz and Mustafi and those kind of guys, like, you're not going to win anything, man. So they almost have to maybe work from the back to the front before they can start to have success. But again, Arsenal has some cachet about them, like Manchester United. They're always going to attract good players, but it's just a matter of whether they can actually get all those pieces in place to have consistent success. And I think they're a little ways away from that. But money talks, man. You get a couple players in, you spend a little bit, things can change quite quickly.
Lucas, do you have any questions?
So this one isn't really Premier League related, but it's kind of related to actually watching the game. So you always have a good eye for the game. You're a coach now. And so for people who want to like learn how to watch the game better, what advice do you have for them? Like, what should they like try to focus on?
So yeah, one of the things that when I'm talking to younger coaches, and one of the things that people should watch, and if you're watching a game in person, is their team shape. How are they moving? So there's two things. One way to really look at it is, how are they trapping the ball? So when they don't have the ball, how are they moving to try to win it? And where? So which part of the field? Are they trying to trap on the sideline? Are they trying to trap in the middle? And how they shape up to try to guess which player you think they want to have the ball. Because when you're a coach, you're always like, yeah, give it to the center back. He sucks, So you end up giving the most time on the ball to the player that you want to have it. So try to figure out and identify what that looks like. Secondly, another good way to do it is if you're at a game live, if you play a specific position, just watch that position. Just watch how that player moves in his team shape. Just don't watch how they move off the ball in particular, because you can watch a lot of on-the-ball stuff on TV, but off the ball, how are they supporting the play? How are they holding the line if they're in the back? How are they connected to the teammates around them? Can you see them physically communicate to the people around them? Or can they not be bothered because they're too cool to do any defending? I mean, there's little things like that. How do they react after they lose the ball? Little things that are all kind of tying in. And then, I got on Thierry Henry once. Obviously, the guy is one of the top players of all time. But when he played for the Red Bulls, he'd give up a ball and just start bitching, or the other guy, his teammates would give up a ball and start bitching. And I'm like, dude, you signed up with MLS. Like, you just came from Barcelona or wherever. Like, it's not going to be the same level. So you got to, like, why sign up if you're not going to? I understand still holding people accountable and trying to help them get better. But I always thought his body language was kind of crappy. So, you can look at body language, too, to kind of see the temperature of the team. All right, is everybody getting along? Because if everybody's getting along, man, they're tackling for each other. They're high-fiving. So there's a lot of body language cues that you can pick up on. If teams are frustrated, I'll see sometimes a goalkeeper will make a good save, and he's like bailing out one of his defenders. Does that defender go right to him and give him like a fist bump or whatever? Or is he kind of like can't be bothered? If you got a team with good chemistry, you'll see that guy go over there right away. So will other guys be like, that's a great save. If nobody goes over there, then you can probably tell there's not a good relationship between the two. Not every single time, but little things, little cues you can watch, both body language, both defensively, both attacking wise. And then I guess on the attacking side, where are they trying to attack? Are they trying to create numerical advantages out wide, like 2v1s? Are they trying to create numerical advantages in the middle? And if things get stunted at all, if they get frustrated with whatever the defending team's doing, what kind of adjustments are they making? So little things like that, just kind of questions that you can have in your mind that will help you understand the game a lot better.
Lucas, any more questions?
No, I think that's
okay. I have one last one, and this is because we have a giant following from Scottish and Irish supporters. I guess my question to you is, what are your thoughts on Scottish and Irish football right now? Because we get a lot of that questions.
Sure. I would say that, Celtic obviously dominates Scottish football at the moment. Rangers are working their way back in. I think Steven Gerrard coming in was a big boon for them. Gives them some credibility, allows them to maybe attract some players that I want to play for Steven Gerrard. So I think that helps a lot. I think he's been good for Scottish football, and I think it's a great starting spot for him to be a manager. There's pressure, but not as much as if he would have jumped into the Premier League. So, it's from there. It's a bit of a drop off, right? I mean, the quality isn't the same, but I think it's an important league to have. I know there's a lot of talk of, having Celtic and Rangers join the Premier League, which I think would be super cool.
Please.
But at the same time, though, I mean, what would happen to Scottish football and the rest of the teams?
Yeah.
What happens to the Aberdeens and Motherwells and Dundee Uniteds and all those teams? I mean, maybe more eyes would not be on them. They wouldn't have those opportunities to potentially get into the Europa League or sneak into the Champions League or whatever. So there's that. And then with Irish football, I don't know too much other than It's one of those. I assume I'm just going to say I'm a Cork fan. I'm going to pick the one city I know in Ireland outside of Dublin and just say I'm a Cork fan. Yeah, I mean, you have to have these leagues. You have to give your players that live in your country a chance to take steps to be able to play at a level. And then I guarantee there's scouts all over those countries that can identify players that come through.
Yeah.
You know, Robbie Keane is one of the best number 9s I've seen in person. His off the ball stuff. I mean, they produce a ton of great players. So the leagues are important. Whether the quality is where all the fans want it to be, obviously that's a bigger conversation. We have the same conversation here in the MLS and North America. We want the same things, and if the infrastructure is there, which I think Ireland and Scotland is probably a little bit more sophisticated and mature than the U.S. You know, that's where we want to be to a certain extent, and hopefully we can continue to push the bar up a little bit. But those guys, I don't know, it's tough. I would say that it's important those leagues exist, and if those teams aren't doing enough, then it's kind of in some ways up to the fans to put pressure on them to be better.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much, Jimmy. I mean, I think we can go on forever talking about football. Thank you for coming on. This is, like I said, one of our dream guests to have on. So thank you so much. I hope we can work in the future again one day. So, yeah, thank you once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And, yeah, I'll come back on anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jimmy. All right, we're back. And thank you so much, Jimmy Conrad, for that interview. I really had a great time doing it. I assume it's the same with Waz. But
Lucas,
man, it's like we never left.
I'll be honest, Lucas, mate. I think you asked some of the most brilliant questions. Thank you for that. I thought Lucas's questions were phenomenal. Like,
this man's out here.
Imagine stroking someone's ego that much, yeah? At least be more subtle. Damn.
Honestly, huge shout out and huge thank you to Jimmy Conrad. You know, he's a huge guest for the 90th minute to have on. Professional player, you know, international level player. Huge online presence as well. I mean, we've all grown up watching him on YouTube and everything. Now he's on TikTok and everything.
Twitch.
Man played against Messi.
Yeah, and Twitch, yeah. But yeah,
huge
shout out. Huge shout out to him. Huge thank you. And, you know, comment down below who you guys want the 90th minute to have on as a guest. And maybe one day it might become reality.
Sergio.
Alfonso!
You want Sergio Busquets, man?
No, I want Waz to have a co-op Twitch stream with Sergio Aguero.
Oh God!
That would make
Lord, that'd be
life.
fun. Oh God!
There's a recommended video on my YouTube of Sergio Aguero reacting to his worst tackles. I didn't get to watch it, but it just showed him like double footing Fabregas or David Luiz or someone.
Good. But
Sergio Aguero is so
Premier
funny,
League.
bro. That guy.
Let's get into the Premier League. Let's talk about Sergio
back.
Aguero. Because Sergio Aguero will be a main focal point of the first game back in the Premier League.
Not first.
Second.
There's a big match. Aston Villa versus Sheffield United.
Wow, so sick. So
I'm excited
for
That's
that
a big game to watch.
Yeah.
That's
But
big.
no,
I like
I
that
just can't
match,
wait to
honestly.
see Liverpool
Sheff-
actually win the league. Because that's what's going to happen.
Sheffield United
so
need
excited
to
for
come
it.
out in good form.
No, definitely. But of course, the big match coming back from the break is Man City versus Arsenal on Wednesday. Big match. What do we see happening?
Man City's going
Say he's gonna probably
Yeah.
dominate.
to
4-1. 4-1.
Lucas?
I'm gonna say 2 or 3-0.
Walton already made our
Nil.
predictions for this match on
It's true. We when we were on the Next Gen podcast. I can't necessarily remember off the top of my head. I think I won like 3-0 City.
I think I won like 4-1 City or something. Like, yeah, because
4-1.
City is just a better team on paper, really, and it's just hard to see
love the
how
pitch.
Arsenal's going to do with the lineup they have right now. They lost a friendly to Brentford, I believe, and some of the goals they conceded
Hey.
looked brutal.
Hey, Fulham versus Brentford this week as well.
Oh my god.
Actually, no, Brentford are in good form.
I didn't say
Brentford
that.
beat Arsenal, so Premier League player tested positive for the virus from Norwich. The identified player is one of 2 new COVID-19 cases detected from 1,200 people were tested out of the 20 clubs. So hopefully this doesn't put a hinder on the league, but in the time, health over football.
I don't want
Football
it
over
to
health.
come back and then it's just gonna get canceled again. Like, come back if it's actually good.
Yeah, I mean, the UK has been such a bad place for the coronavirus. I mean, it's been hit hard there. So,
Just,
of course, players are going to be, in the spotlight. I mean, as soon as one of them does get the disease.
Well, if they stop having parties, this wouldn't be an issue.
Well, yeah.
Just bring
a
bring
lot
the
of
Premier
people
League
have
to
not been
Edmonton.
smart. No.
No.
No?
Ew. Ew.
Commonwealth
Ew.
Stadium? Perfect.
Ew. Why the fuck would they ever come here?
Because we're
What do we have? We have a mall, bro. We have a mall.
So what? We can play football.
Not
in the
even that
mall.
good.
Tottenham versus United. What do you think?
Well, that's gonna be a boring game. Put my money on it now.
Oh,
One, Manchester United.
Spurs could come back good, honestly. You never know.
They could. Harry Kane's back.
Pogba and Bruno will likely be in the midfield, but there's a bit downside. Pogba and Bruno played one match together, and we lost to West Brom.
Tough.
You guys lost a friendly too. Wow.
We don't talk about that here.
Incredible.
Don't we?
You
Okay,
brought
calm
it
down,
up.
calm down, mister. I lost to 6th place Atletico Madrid in the Champions League.
They at least have good
That's a
history
point.
in the Champions League.
Boom.
At least we're still in
Boom.
Europe.
Boom.
I'm
That's
sorry.
a tough look, Lucas. It's a tough look.
There was
Was.
only one headline I found interesting from the Premier League right now. Apparently, Arsenal are going to sell Maitland-Niles to afford interlinked Aubameyang wage demands. What?
Why? Just yeet Aubameyang. He wants to go. Let the man go.
I don't know.
Look how much hair that guy's
I don't know
lost.
how, I don't know
playing for
how
a club. Let
reliable
him
the
go.
source is. But
Let him go.
supposedly, Arsenal will have to sell Maitland-Niles if they're to offer a new contract to Aubameyang. He's been
Dude, how
linked
much
with
they
Inter.
offering a new contract? What,
Right?
$2,000? How much they
Yeah.
paying Maitland-Niles?
I did
fuck?
read that Arsenal are actually leading out of the English clubs to sign Upamecano in this next transfer window.
What a mistake that's going to be for
I
Upamecano.
really don't see it happening. I don't see him
Oh, yeah.
going to that club. I don't see Arsenal having the money to sign a player of his stature.
That'd be such a good signing for Arsenal, though.
It would
honestly.
be, but I just don't see it.
I mean, David
Chelsea-
Luiz was a good
Chelsea.
signing for them, and then he turned into a clown.
David Luiz.
I-
David Luiz.
As much as I like
And
David
then
Luiz, that's not
another-
the same.
Another
Remember when
transfer rumor.
Mustafi was good? Oh,
Yeah.
how is he now?
Also, there's one other rumor. Jadon Sancho was linked to Liverpool for whatever reason. If you're not going to buy Timo Werner, why would they buy Sancho?
It's probably
But,
not for this
But
year.
pissed.
Yeah,
It's probably just
But
interest.
luckily,
Yeah, like clubs can be
Dortmund's
interested,
squad-
but that doesn't mean that they're gonna
I don't
make a
think-
transfer.
Even if, I don't think Sancho would be at all interested in going to Liverpool right now, unless somebody left. That's the only way I could see that happening. Otherwise, he's not going.
I mean, you never know.
according
He's not going to be back. He's not going to be a backup.
Okay, why do you
He's
need a
not.
backup though?
Who's he going to start? Okay, so you guys make this argument all the time. Who's he going to
4-2-3-1.
start over?
4-2-3-1. You have
4-2-3-1.
Firmino. Yeah, 4-2-3-1. You have Mohamed Salah at striker, Sancho
It's
on the
not going
right.
to happen, that one.
Salah has played striker quite a bit this season, but
To be
like
determined.
I'm not. Sancho rumors to Liverpool, Mbappe 2020, those type of stuff. Just cut it this year.
Mbappe's definitely not going to Liverpool.
Just cut it.
That is a
Just cut it.
100%, boys.
Let's cut it. Let's
That
move,
guy's going to Real Madrid.
let's move on.
You don't put your goddamn hand down. I will walk over and slap the shit out of you.
I'm just
The hell I
trying
look
to-
like?
I just want to talk, man.
Then talk.
Um,
Do you want the conch? Yeah. Talk.
according to Borussia Dortmund squad manager Sebastian Kell,
God.
he basically shut down the rumors about Sancho with a link to Liverpool. He's basically saying there's really nothing to it, and that he thinks that Sancho will continue to play for Dortmund next season.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
interesting. We're gonna talk about our top 5 FIFA Ultimate Team players. We've all played FIFA Ultimate Team except for maybe Liam.
Good, 'cause he's terrible.
We've all been involved with this game since like FIFA 12, 11. So, gentlemen, Greg, let's start off with you. You've had some interesting shouts over the years.
God, we should save Greg for last because his is going to be madness. No one's
Yeah,
going to know who the fuck
I
he's
wouldn't
talking
start with
about.
me.
Okay, we'll
Well,
save
as you
that
hit
for
it
last.
off.
All right, number 1, the legend himself, Seydou Doumbia. Club legend,
Oh, God.
FIFA 13, 12, 14, maybe even 15. Number 2, icon of the club in FIFA 12 and 13 as well. Glory years. Lucas Podolski. Although I prefer the center forward card, I'm still kind of pissed they haven't released a center forward card as a flashback this year. Number 3, this kind of actually came out of nowhere. I've played a lot of FIFA, clearly. I fucking streamed the game. But Chicharito. Chicharito had a pretty good card back in the day, I think I remember. Especially United and Leverkusen. You can tell I'm a very sweaty FIFA player.
He had some pace to him.
Yeah. I could probably add a lot of Gabarbo in there. But number 4, actually, is going to go to FIFA 17 or 16. I can't remember. Wayne Rooney actually had a very good card for me. He did. I don't know. I enjoyed his card in like FIFA 17, 16. His gold card. Yeah, I played him at Cam. He was phenomenal. He was magisterial. And then I think number 5, I'm going to go to FIFA 20. Johan Cruyff. Baby Cruyff. The icon, legend of my club. So he's been pretty phenomenal this year for me. I got lucky getting him, but it's either him or Neymar. Yeah.
right.
He pulls off some dumb shit for me, so I love him.
Lucas?
My list is kind of weird, but I'll get through it. Team of the season's Zlatan from FIFA 14. Matt let me borrow his card back then when he actually had a lot of coins. So I used it.
Too many.
I had to pay a loan to Matt to borrow the card. But I had a lot of fun with it, and incredible card. FIFA 12, John Taylor. I think most of you guys know about that card.
Yeah.
Such a fun card to use, and obviously inspired to be used from KSI. Another FIFA 12 card, El Shaarawy. It's more. I don't really need to say much else.
Check out the Lucas Chromiak channel. He made a video.
Yeah. Never talk about my boy. That's my fucking boy. Anyway, move on. We move.
FIFA 13, Marco Reus's card in that game, just absolutely incredible.
FIFA 13?
You could link him with S-Wine, with I think it was Malapa or something.
Yeah, S-Wine was a god.
And Gota even. But my last one, FIFA 14. This is going to sound weird, but the Mats Hummels World Team of the Tournament card.
Okay.
Because that FIFA, everyone just spammed crosses and headers, and I pissed me off so much. So Mats Hummels was like the only defender I could use that I would manually control to win the headers.
Maddie, you go, and then I'll go quickly before Greg.
We're going to start at FIFA 20. Had a couple good ones this year. We're going to start off with Team of the Season Messi for obvious reasons, because I will never, ever, ever get that lucky again. That was the pinnacle of my FIFA life. So he has to be there. Moving on, still in FIFA 20, Yusuf Atal. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
That guy's got to be a drug addict, surely, right? And then moving on, Lucas stole my boy, FIFA 12 El Shaarawy. If Lucas made a video, check it. I don't even know what to say about this guy. I know Waz led how many goals I scored on you with El Shaarawy back in the day, Waz?
I don't remember. It's too long ago.
In probably 12 in a game.
I don't know. I think Greg's done worse to me.
I don't know, man. 16-1 is a rough look, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the first 2 months of me playing FIFA.
And then we move on to, again, Lucas named him, that Team of the Season. Was it Team of the Season?
It was Team of the Year, actually.
That card, boys, I don't know what to say about it.
The fact that people still think
the memories,
is overrated.
Dude, the memories just flow in. Anyways, my final player, before a couple honorable mentions, is Omar Cummings. Nobody knows. This is back in the day when you could use anyone you wanted to, and that is the Rasta King, bro. Nobody better.
Matt enjoyed his Cummings.
Oh, every single day, yeah.
Well done, Greg.
Every single
That was
day.
well played.
And then for honorable mentions, Ter Stegen this year, Jack Butland, Jeremy Menez back in FIFA 12.
I think you're missing one player that actually boned me more than El Shaarawy.
And who is that?
Iturbe.
Oh God, man! I forgot all about Iturbe.
I have more PTSD, I think, from Iturbe, because even right now I hear the name Iturbinator echo through my brain. I'm like, oh God, he's back.
Dude, there's been some good players in FIFA, man. Unreal.
Honestly, I feel like FIFA on the old gen consoles is a little bit more entertaining because you can use these players more.
Yeah, I could use a 72 overall Omar Cummings back in the days, man. That's rough. Imagine if I tried doing that shit now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Liam,
like Lucas said, though. Yeah, I don't play Ultimate Team. So
no, but get your career mode legends.
Do some career
mode. I do enjoy career mode. So, I mean, I'm going to talk about some players that I always try to pick up whenever I start a career mode. FIFA 18, 19, and 20, whenever I do a career mode, I think there's 3 or 4 players I always try to go after. First on the list is always going to be Mbappe. I mean, the pace, the finishing, it's incredible.
Wow, who knew, man?
He's just too good. I mean, I have to keep
Mbappe.
I always try to get Samuel Umtiti at center back. I like his pace. I like his strength. And as a center midfielder for a cheap CDM, I will always go after Callum McGregor. The man has the perfect amount of stamina. He can make a tackle. He can make a pass. He can take a goal. So cheap CDM, Callum McGregor is your man. Other than that, I always just go after regens. I try to go over youth players all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest player I've ever played with in the history of any FIFA was my Zlatan regen. The man was next level.
I think
99 pace, 99 acceleration, 99 shooting. He was
I
unstoppable.
remember it was FIFA 14 or FIFA 13. I had a Zlatan regen, but he was the total opposite of Zlatan, where he was like 5'6".
Oh yeah, my regen was like 5'9", like 130 pounds, but he was rapid. Like for my FIFA, that was my best ever player I've ever played with for a career mode.
Greg?
Well, you guys are nonstop talking about Zlatan, so Zlatan's definitely in my list. Probably the FIFA 12 one, but honestly, like FIFA 12, 13, 14, fantastic.
You
Just
whipped my ass back then. With him.
such a great player. Another one, FIFA 13, act back, bro. Lucas put up the card for me because it needs no explanation. Matt knows, Waz knows,
Fuck off.
Lucas knows.
Fuck off. That card's stupid.
Another one would be Emil Heskey. Emil Heskey I just love that card.
No joke, guys. Greg would use these players and actually do well with them.
Greg, honestly, is one of the best FIFA players I've ever seen. Like, the guy's got skills.
Yeah.
Why are we always sleeping on Maddie? Not you, Waz. You suck.
You play the game, though, way more than Greg does. Greg just pops in and just wins.
I want to, before Greg continues, I want to name one more player. It's a bit of a throwback for Greg. Greg loves this one. Robin Van Persie. Greg, how do you feel about that? How does that make you feel?
I think it was a 48-yard free kick I scored against you. I think it's at Lucas Soda, actually.
How does it make you feel? Good? How about Sergio Busquets?
I don't like that card.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Greg, do you have any other players?
FIFA 12 Maicon Liete was.
Oh,
I liked
yeah.
That card was so expensive. He was like 120k for a silver.
I also remember there was one player, Robinho was one of them. I can't remember.
Pato was also good.
FIFA 12. AC Milan in FIFA 12.
I used AC
sick.
Milan and I got to Division 1 in head-to-head seasons.
That team was
used AC
gross.
Milan the entire time.
They all had 5-star skills. All of them did.
It was so fun.
Like,
real life AC Milan was incredible.
I mean, they weren't that good back then, but like
they were pretty good.
They were good on FIFA. That's for fuck's sake.
I remember when Jolene Lescott had a nice card.
Lescott.
Wow.
Remember Jolene Lescott? It was him and yeah.
Mika Richards too.
It was
Mika Richards.
Oh,
so OP.
But Greg, name your last player.
There's a lot of people, but another shout out just everyone used Emenike.
Emenike.
But there's a lot.
I'm surprised you didn't throw in Piccolo in there.
Oh, I forgot about Piccolo. Yeah. Piccolo was very good too. He scored some good long shots too. Some 45-yard long shots.
Oh, Di Natale.
Sorry, can I
too good.
Sorry,
bro.
Can I just get
those long shots were so broken.
Top 3 keepers from FIFA though? Quickly?
Not today. We're overdue our time right now.
What's the
one goalie. That was legendary. FIFA 13, Arthur Marias.
Fair.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
That was amazing.
Questions. Go on. Let's go.
Fuck.
Yeah, questions.
Cheers. Anyways, we go.
Do you think the signings of Werner, Ziyech, and potentially Chilwell plus Havertz confirms Chelsea as series title contenders for next season? From Purva.
So it'll be a stupid move.
They need defense.
I hope they don't sign Chilwell. They need to sign a center back like Koulibaly at best.
They need to get tagged.
Yeah, they need someone who's strong and experienced in the center back position to go beside Tomori or Rudiger.
Yeah, I mean they're good. They're making good steps right now.
Title contenders is a bit far.
I can see them. I can see them pushing.
Well, they should be top 4 contenders game already.
It should be top 4.
If they get Tagliafico,
difficult.
Yeah.
If they get Tagliafico and a center back,
Yeah.
And
they're-
even like not even including Sancho, I could see
Well,
them
I mean-
finishing top 3.
Right now, with the
That
way
being
they're
third.
looking at Chelsea
Yeah.
and the way they kind of just sign players out of nowhere and the way they
Just they
bring in
have-
players.
They got
It's
Hazard
possible.
money.
Yeah. I see it realistic to be a title contender, maybe. They could
I
definitely
wouldn't
get
say
in.
that.
They can get
Liverpool and
into
City
that
are still
route.
Man
too
City
good,
and
in my
Liverpool are
opinion.
way too good.
Give it a few more
Oh, yeah,
Way
years.
that-
too good.
Chelsea should be.
In my opinion, they
competing for
still have a
titles.
very good. They have a very good manager in Frank Lampard. I think
Yeah, they just
Frank's,
gotta wait.
I like the steps, like Lucas saying,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Chelsea's
With that.
making, though.
Frank's a very smart football man, so he'll definitely know what to do with the team. What does Liam think of Steven Davis without being biased?
Steven Davis.
Yeah.
Why can't I picture who the hell that is?
Here, let me Google real quick.
Are we supposed to know who
The
Steven
name-
Davis is?
The name sounds familiar, but I can't think of who it is.
He plays. Does this guy play fucking cricket?
He played for Northern Ireland. He played 140 games for Rangers.
Oh, send him to the gulag.
I
You don't
have
talk about
no
him.
thoughts on him. He does not occupy any part of my brain.
I
We don't know who he is, so we're gonna send him to the gulag.
Liam is going to be biased, unfortunately, sir, as he doesn't like Rangers players, and
So he doesn't know who they are.
he
I
probably
played for
knows who he is
Southampton.
if he sees his face, but he probably.
The name sounds familiar, but I can't picture him, kind of thing.
He played for Southampton at one point, apparently. Austin Villa, Fulham.
Magical Man 16 asks, I want to know your opinion on Man United. Do you think they can finish top 4? Only if Chelsea can lose a game or two, because it's gonna be really hard to knock them out of their perch in 4th. They've been staying there for a while. I think United can get some good results, especially with the team they have right now. But of course, everything is pretty wishy-washy with Ole. Because with Ole, it's like he'll lose a couple games against pretty bad teams, and then you get the double over City or something, you know? Yeah.
I mean, with Prem coming back, you never know. We don't know what's going to happen, honestly, still.
Here's another question from Ralphie. Sorry for another comment, but what does Matt support an English team?
I'm guessing that's for me.
Yes.
And just by association, Chelsea, just because it's my dad's team. Other than that, not really. I watch it.
Ralphie asked another question. Thoughts on William Saliba?
I've heard good things about him at Saint Etienne, but we haven't
Too
seen
early to
enough
say.
of him.
Too early to say
There's-
on that one.
There's a lot of hype around him right now. I know Arsenal supporters rate him a lot. But to be fair, every
Guy
fan
hasn't even
base-
played a fucking game. They're like, he's gonna save our defense.
Yeah, every
Bet.
team's gonna rate their
Bet.
youngsters.
Until
Yeah,
the one
fair.
actually is just
Like, was rated Nick
Amazing.
Powell better than Raheem Sterling, like you said last episode?
Mate. We thought Adnan Januzaj was the next Ronaldo. He scored a goal against fucking Sunderland. He scored 2 against Sunderland, and we thought he was the next Ronaldo.
Don't worry, you're not the only one who's overrated their youngsters. I've overrated Woodburn. I've definitely overrated Brewster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but then you
Yeah,
got like
Brewster-
Trent.
Brewster's
Yeah.
big disappointment.
Okay.
Big disappointment.
So I always like to bring in a question. This was a debate in my Twitch chat. Robertson or Davies? Who's the best left back right now?
Robertson.
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 Because there were some people who were arguing that Davies was better than Robertson right now.
Davies has been here for 6 months. Let's give him some time.
And also,
Robertson
Davies
right
has
now.
been playing, so it's recency bias.
It's not even just Robertson
man.
too. You gotta look at players like Alex Telles, Alexandro, Jordi Alba.
Thing
There's
is,
a lot of decent
Brandon
left
Lodi.
backs.
we're also
Man.
we also all love Fonzie, and we're
I
saying
know.
Robertson.
Yeah,
May I
that's
just say that the fact that Alphonso Davies is even in this conversation
Is impressive
incredible.
enough.
For
So let's
Canadian,
give
yeah.
credit to him there.
But how I also see it though, no disrespect to the German teams and everything, but Bayern is on a different level compared
Yeah.
to the other Bundesliga teams, and he did amazing in Champions League
Lucas, as
against
a
Chelsea
Liverpool
and stuff.
supporter,
But
Lucas, what does Robertson have over Davies right now?
He's better going forward. That's for fucking sure. That says a lot because Davies is not a slouch.
Yeah, like
I
Robertson
pushing
definitely has
up
a better
pushing the
delivery
play.
than Davies on the ball.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, crossing has been a big part of Liverpool's game. Also, Robertson is a better defender. Davies doesn't really need to worry about defending as much because he can usually catch up with players because of his pace. But Robertson, I think he's somewhat of an underrated defender. Somewhat,
Not really.
maybe not now, but maybe I'm just thinking about times from last year where
I'm pretty sure last year we all thought. That's pretty sure last year we all thought he was sick too.
no, like not defending,
Okay.
but no, like defending, like one-on-one defending and stuff like that.
Yeah, kid's a
No, I
workhorse.
agree.
Yeah, actually,
you know.
defensively, he's very strong.
Also,
He is very good. He's been very good defensively.
and obviously work rate
People
as
just
well.
look at his crossing.
Robertson's work rate is
There-
better. and also positioning wise, he has to be better positioned because despite being really fast himself, he's not as fast as Davies.
They're both
Are there any
fantastic.
Are there any other questions we need to answer?
That's all I've been able to get. If we did miss your question, I apologize. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning into this amazing episode of the 90th minute. Thank you to Jimmy Conrad for coming on once again. So I'm gonna give a round of applause to Jimmy. Amazing stories, great. Yeah, well, we're gonna try. We'll try to get Jimmy back on the podcast again. He said he's down to come on again at some point. So yeah,
Shit, maybe we'll replace Walls with him.
Pronounce some names.
And with
We all love you, Waz. We love you. We love you.
Okay. It's all right.
Okay. Okay.
I made
From
Waz
almost the
depressed.
90th minute, from myself, Liam, from Greg, Maddie, Lucas, and Waz. Thank you for tuning in.
Now,
Thank you for
Waz.
watching and listening. And this has been yet another week in the beautiful game. We will see you next time.